Some of you are very observant. I had only published the last video just a few minutes before I got an email that something was wrong with my sound this time. Very observant. I started the last week's video walking in the woods and filming some minnows in a stream. And so I couldn't carry my regular microphone with me. I had to take a waterproof microphone and use that. This week we're going to look briefly at the life of an ancient Greek philosopher who was born maybe 300 or 400 years before Jesus, and look at some of his ideas and how they do or don't hold up well today. He was the philosopher of pleasure. And by the way, if this sound isn't very good, it's because it's raining outside. Epicurus was born about the 3rd and 4th century BC, or lived between the 3rd and 4th century BC. Epicurus believed that the whole purpose of philosophy is to make people happy, to make people live lives that are happy and to get the most pleasure out of life possible, and happiness comes from pleasure. And therefore, the more we pleasure ourselves, the more, the happier we will be. And his philosophy grew. His philosophy gained a lot of followers. A number of wealthy people started feeding in, financially to help support him. He got a home for a lot of his followers, and they just kind of lived together and found ways to get the most out of life. Now, even today, 2,400 years later, I can look up on my cell phone Epicurean magazine, and the first I get is a site with thousands of searchable recipes for gourmet food and wine, a magazine for food and wine. Epicurean magazine. Epicurean was the first Australian magazine devoted entirely to food and to wine. Epicurean Life, luxury magazine. Epicurean Life is an international luxury lifestyle magazine that focuses on food, travel, luxury lifestyle, watches, motoring, and fashion. It might be quite an irony today if the readers of those magazines were to be able to visit the home of Epicurus, because his home was not a mansion. He didn't live a lifestyle of luxury. He didn't drink a lot of wine. He drank mostly water. He didn't eat fancy gourmet foods. He said a few vegetables, a little bit to drink, some olives. It's plenty for a person to live on. He wouldn't even be in favor of the lifestyles of the magazine, I don't think. See, Epicurus believed that we as human beings are not very good, perhaps as bad as children, at knowing what is good for us. See, you give a child a choice, and most children would eat ice cream for every meal, or candy for every meal, or something that rots their teeth out for every meal and dims their wits. They'd stay up until they just fell asleep. Then they would feel bad for school the next day. That's just the way we do. We overindulge, we run, we do what feels good, not what is good for us. And a lot of the things that makes us feel good as adults, the luxury things, the the wine, the gourmet foods, the just stuffing our life with this as much as we can cram into it. That's not good for us. And it doesn't bring us to happiness. So what is good for us? A simple life. A stress-free life. A few good friends. Freedom. Well, I guess this would be kind of copying Jefferson in our founding documents, but life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, freedom of thought, freedom to philosophize, freedom to study and search for answers to life. That's about all it takes. A simple life, enough food that we are comfortable, are satisfied, some good friends, good conversation, good thought. If we're not happy with a few things, we probably aren't going to be happy with lots of things. We get a thrill, just like a candy rush, like a sugar rush in candy, right after we buy something. But then the thrill goes away, just like a sugar rush goes away. And yet, people that have a lot aren't always fulfilled. They haven't always got the answers. They don't always feel like they've accomplished what they're supposed to accomplish. But on the other hand, people with simple lives, they often don't feel like that either. So there might be something else in the equation. And I think 18th century French mathematician Blaise Pascal, I think he is credited with saying that there is inside of each of us an infinite vacuum that can only be filled by an infinite God. Now, I don't know if he said that or not, but he's credited for it. I heard Billy Graham once say in one of his sermons that there is a God-shaped vacuum inside of everyone. But if I go back farther into the Old Testament, in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the Bible says, God put eternity in the hearts of men. It may be that whether we live a simple life or whether we live a flamboyant life or whether we live a poor life or whether we live a rich life, that we only have a few years to live and to discover our purpose for being here. And it could be that in poverty and riches, either way, there's not a purpose for us being there. But when we come in contact with our Creator, who created us for a purpose, that might be the missing piece to the puzzle. It's about halfway through another week. And in just a few days, we'll be able to come to church and worship together again. And as usual, I'm looking forward to it. I should warn you that I may not get a video out next week. I have a medical procedure scheduled for Monday. I don't know how long I'll be down. I hope to be back in church, but I probably won't be speaking the week after this, that next week. In the meantime.